let's go straight into it. We know that all these benefits are something that we've all heard about. And of course, all of this also counts for all the athletes. So normal brain function, normal heart function, and normal immune function. What is important for me when I talk to my athletes is the cellular inflammation. So I explain to them why our cell membrane is so important. And one of the most important components in this cell membrane is, of course, fatty acids. And here, omega-3 plays an enormous role. So if you have a healthy cell membrane, you have nutrients to get in and you have waste products coming easily out. There's a lot of other things that are also happening. So I will go into more details later. But as you can see on the right side, an unhealthy cell, you have a lot of things that are not functioning. So for an athlete that has to perform at the highest level and use her or his body, not having healthy cells will really show very, very fast in any kind of performance they have to do. Just a second. So one of the things that we talk about is, of course, the omega-6-3 balance. And in general, we talk about chronic diseases. What I want to point out here is that autoimmune diseases, and we talk about asthma. We have a lot of athletes that have asthma from hard workouts, from, let's say, from training hard. And what I see is that we can help a lot of these athletes by giving them this omega-3 product, so our balance oil, and lowering the omega-6-3 ratio, because then we lower the inflammation. So this is just a small little thing that you can actually think about when you talk about to athletes, that you can help them reduce their asthma. So what else can omega-3 fatty acids do for performance? Well, we actually have a few things that I want to talk about today. So first of all, improve blood flow so that we can have more oxygen into our muscles, meaning that we have more energy and we perform better. We reduce inflammation because hard intense training is actually creating inflammation in the body, and we can reduce some of that inflammation faster. So we can decrease recovery times. We can also, which is I see as something we forget sometimes, we actually improve mood of many of our athletes. And then another thing is that you have faster reaction times. Very easily, what is important when we talk about blood flow is that to be able to get oxygen into your arteries, in your muscles, we need to get the red blood cells in there with their oxygen. But the problem is that if you have stiff cell membranes of those red blood cells, they won't get in there. So it's highly important that you actually have a lot of these omega-3s in your cell membrane, so it gets very flexible and it can get into this the capillaries in your muscles, so that we can so that we can perform better and have more energy. Another thing is that we reduce inflammation by intense training. So that's what I talked about before. When we train, and that's what we want to do, we want to create muscle damage. That's the only way we can become better and stronger. So it's very important that we can actually make inflammation, but it's highly important that we can reduce that inflammation fast, because the faster we can do it, the less pain, the less, when you train hard, you have like a lot of pain in your muscles, especially on the third day of a training camp is one of the worst days that you can get out of bed. And we have seen that adding more omega-3 to the diets of the athletes, we reduce their muscle pain. So some of these things are highly interesting when you're an athlete. On top of that, we actually can decrease recovery times because you are not as exhausted, you recover faster, and also you don't have the pain. And then what happens when we have to do all of this? We have to have this muscle protein recovery. So the synthesis of the protein in the muscle has to be faster. That's the way we recover. And that happens also with the help of fatty acids from omega-3. Then we improve mood and also our emotions. I see this very, very often. We have so many athletes that are not in control of their mood and their emotional state. And here omega-3 plays a huge role. So it's not just for the overall performance, but it's also for how you feel, how your mental strength are, what you think about yourself, how well you control stress around you, because being an athlete is highly stressful, especially if you are in somewhere where you have to perform at a high level or you have to travel a lot. Then also, for many sports, faster reaction times are something we want. And this is also where we have huge impact on our omega-3s, from our omega-3s, sorry. But when we talk about omega-3, we have to be very aware of the product we're taking. So before I knew of Zinzino Balance Oil, I was actually very sick and tired of all the supplements that I was trying and seeing. And as an athlete, I have tried a lot of products. And at the very end, I actually said, listen, I'm not even interested because I don't believe in it, because I didn't feel any different. When I saw the test, I could see that there was a difference because I saw myself before and after, and there was a huge difference. So what is important here is, of course, the potency you have in the product, but also how pure it is and that it doesn't oxidize. So the purity is, of course, depending on how well it is refined. Because when we refine the fish today, the oil, it comes from fish that are very polluted from our oceans. So that is why Zinzino uses only molecularly tested products. So the fish oil that they have are molecularly tested for toxins, which is an extra safety for us, because we don't want all of these toxins from the high quantity of fish oil we're taking. Then we talk about stability and oxidation. So these two things are huge when we talk about omega-3s, because when we refine the oil, we leave it on its own. Everything that was together with this omega-3 to be protected inside of the fish is gone. So what we do and what Zinzino has found is that they add back in the polyphenols that is a natural occurring component in anywhere in the nature where you find omega-3, if it's on plant, if it's on like earth or like on the soil, from soil, or it's in the sea. You always have polyphenols around it. So we have added back these polyphenols from olive oil. And these polyphenols, and a lot of polyphenols in general, have also a high positive effect on performance. But that's a different discussion. But just so you know, it's not just the omega-3 in this product. It's actually also the polyphenols that we have that are very important and highly give this high potency to this product. So normally, when you have a regular fish oil product, you should take up till 10 to 15 capsules. With Zinzino's Ascend, you only need 3 to 5. But my best choice or my best advice for my athletes is to take this liquid. I know for some people this sounds strange, but if you take liquid balance oil, you only have to take 2 to 3 tablespoons, and it's very easy. And of course, what I like about this is that it is actually measured of like how much is your weight. So we can adjust on an individual level how to give the right amount to every single athlete. And for this, I actually used a balance test. So what and how can we know that we're getting enough or are we not getting too much? Because that's the other side of it. Don't get too much. Even too much of a good thing is not good. So we need the right levels, the right amount of omega-3s. We need to be checking the 2 fatty acids, AA and EPA in the blood, the ratio between them. That's what we're looking at. And to get to this desired level that we're talking about, which is 3 to 1 or lower, we actually sometimes talk about this as more important, or as at least as important as you can use your heart rate monitor. Of course, it is a little tricky thing to talk about, but I believe it is very important. So remember that as an athlete, to be able to become better, we have to make inflammation in our muscles. So if we have too much omega-3, it's not good either. So this is why it's so important that we actually can measure. So the balance test is based on solid science and it's analyzed at an independent lab. It is, for me, an essential tool when I talk diet with my athletes because it actually reflects their last 4 months diet. So I can go into specific things and ask them specific questions very easily. Also, if I get athletes in that are not already using the balance oil, or maybe not using products at all, or maybe using a different one, I can actually show them how well that product performed. And then, of course, I retest, because then I can fine-tune dosage depending on the season also, because they don't exactly always need the same amount of omega-3 in season or off season. So here I've shown you 2 different tests that really represent more or less what I see around the world in general. So it's not that athletes are different than general people. So they also need, as much as we do, they need this product because they're just like us. On top of this, you see somebody who's actually using a different product, not the balance oil. And you can see that his numbers are more or less like what we know when somebody uses a balance, an average product. Down under below, you can see that this is somebody who's not using, and you can see where people that we normally see that are not using these products. So an athlete is not different than us when we talk about levels of fatty acids in the body. Now I'm going to show you 2 other ones. So this is a female triathlete. She started out this summer and started to take the product, and she took it for 4 months, and then you see the difference. I have put into a circle here. She was already at 4%, which is not bad for not having anything in your, let's say, supplement. Oh, sorry, yes, she did supplement, but with another product. Then she went up to have omega-3 index of 6.8 in 4 months, which is pretty good to go that high up in only 4 months, because that's the harder one to get up. She also got down to 3:1, which is amazing, because this is what we want. We want to take it down, but not too far down, because we still want to be able to create some inflammation. So she's not all green, but she's very close to becoming green in only 4 months, being a triathlete, training hard. If you go down under, you can see what I have put into the square or the rectangle is the levels of omega-3 that she had in her body before. So we look mostly at the EPA and the DHA. And you can see how much she has lowered the missing components, meaning that she has gotten a lot more omega-3 into her body. The most important one when we talk about inflammation ready, like from training, is the EPA, because this is the more ready available component, the omega-3, that is ready in the body to take down inflammation, whereas the DHA is more structural omega-3 that is built into your body. It's built into your eyes, your brain. It's built into everything that, like bones and stuff like this. So for her, for sure, it has helped her brain, but it had also given her more possibility to lower inflammation after hard training. And she's very happy with this. What I want to show you now is a little bit different. I think for some of you, it might be interesting to see why I think this tool is so amazing for a nutritionist, because as a nutritionist, very often we believe, we think, we do, we're not always sure, because we have to rely on the feedback we get from our athletes. When I get a test, I would look at this and say, oh, this is amazing. Like the one on the right, this guy is down below 2.5 to 1. I have to say these 2 athletes are not taking our product yet. These are taking a different product. So just to show you that I believe that our product is superior, because I don't see these numbers with our products, what I'm going to show you now. So the one on the right has a very good omega-6/3 balance. He's 2.5 to 1, which is where we want him to be. He's also pretty good in his omega-3 index, 6%, He needs to be above 8. So he's also good. But if you go down below, there's something that is strange. And you see the arachidonic acid formation efficiency is under 30, which is something that if I had not had this test, I would never have thought of that could be a problem for him. This means that his way of metabolizing fatty acids might not be as good as we believe. So he might need a little bit more help in his diet, adding a little bit more meat maybe to optimize this, because what I see is that he's actually low in his AA. And AA is the omega-6 that helps create inflammation. So AA is important for inflammation when we train hard. So it's not optimal that he's under the level he's supposed to be at. So here I would definitely have a talk with him, ask him more specifically, how much meat are you eating? How much eggs are you having? Because we can go and give him AA right in the right source, right in there, by adding some meat to his diet. So definitely something I would talk to him about. And in general, I think having these numbers, 6.6% omega-6, omega-3 level is good, but I don't like his numbers when I go down below and look into the nitty-gritty details. The other one on the other side has higher omega-3 levels in his body, but his omega-6 rebalance is not good. So I go in and have a look at his arachidonic acid. He's above 3.5, meaning he has way too much arachidonic acid in his body. So we have to lower that. So of course I need to talk to this guy about what is he eating, because he is giving supplements. He's having supplements that should help this, but it's not. So these are little ideas of what I actually look at when I have athletes, and why I think this tool is very important when I talk to them about their diets, because these are things that I would probably not have found, not have thought about if I were to just talk to them and do different testings. So when we have Zinzino balance oil, I always tell them that you have the correct relationship between the EPA and DHA, especially as an athlete. It's very important you have enough EPA to lower your inflammation in the muscles. And also we have the polyphenols. As I said, that's another discussion, another time, but it's highly important in this matter as well. And then these oils we have are so highly recognizable by the body that they actually are high absorbent. So we have a product that very fast, as you can see with that triathlete, corrects safely the levels of our fatty acids in the body, also for athletes. And for me, for athletes, I believe that it is important for everyone listening. But if you want to take your, let's say, your sport to a higher level, you need to be looking at this, because these are little details where you can actually just go in and adjust, and you will have a higher and better performance. That was everything, Rob.
Fantastic, Anne. When you look at that information, we're talking about recovery, we're talking about quality of product, and having the balanced test. When you combine all that together, it really does, just in that snapshot what you've just done, it's outstanding. It truly is an outstanding company when you can see what you're achieving with athletes, and then put that back into just the normal world, okay? When the normal population is taking it, you can see how critical it is for people to get onto these products. Now, let's talk about outside of the athlete world, okay? Because some people say, well, I'm not an athlete, I don't need to take the product. I know you've just said that everybody needs it, but in your words, can you actually tell the people that are on the line, the general public, about why they need it as well?
Well, what I see when I have normal people like myself, then I see many people being inflamed, and they think it's just natural. It's natural to have a headache. It's natural to have dry skin. It's natural to have heart problems. It's natural to take a pill for whatever you have. And I see when I get them on our products, I can correct that quite fast, so they don't need to be on medication. I think it's terrible, the amount of medication that people are on today. So having natural products that are just like food is something that you should have through your food, but it's so hard to get today. You can adjust. It's like a puzzle. You just have to put the little pieces in, and the body is like, wow, it's like a flower, and it will blossom when you add these little pieces. And I see that over and over again. And it's just amazing to work with products where you can actually see a difference and feel, and people are coming back to you telling you, wow, these are amazing.
And it's an interesting combination, because when we're just talking about, for an example, the balanced oil as we see it today, there are some extra products available around the world, and you guys in Europe have the combination of not only having the balanced oil, but you have the extra products as well. When they're released in Australia in the next 4 to 6 months, can you tell us about some of the results you've seen with that, just over a few seconds?
Oh, yeah. So we have our health protocol kit, which is our immune and vitamin enhancing vitamins and mineral supplement. And then, of course, for our gut health, which is one of my big things, because I think everybody has issues there. And when we talk about immune protection, immune system, we know that gut health is so important. And we see with our products, the two of them together, we address, let's say, the immune system in a whole. We address the one we have in the gut, but we also address the one that we need for cellular protection. So the amount of polyphenols, the total amount of polyphenols in our combined product in a health protocol kit is just amazing. And it will give so much health into the bodies that we're working with, that we see amazing results. So just, I would like really knock on those doors in Australia and get these products, because we see huge things here that are really, really interesting when we see the combination of these 3 products. We also have other products, also for athletes. I don't know if you want me to talk about those as well.
Yeah.
What I see, we have, of course, our meal replacement, which is a protein shake. I see that. I use it myself, and I see that has a good effect on muscle building, but also on losing weight. And it's a safe way of doing it, meaning that it is still in balance with the omega-6-3. And we have very good protein sources put into it. So it's one of my to-go in the mornings when I'm busy. The other one that I want to mention briefly is Viva, which is our saffron extract, let's say capsule, which has, for me, had an enormous effect on my private life. I've had a son that had anxiety, and it helped him. But where I use it very much is with athletes as well, because when they get stressed and before competition, or they have to leave home because they have to train, they have to go to competition, and they have hard time sleeping, it is something that they use. So you can use this product before sleep to actually have a deeper sleep and a better sleep.
Yep.
But you can also use it to calm down during the day. But you can also use it to high performance, because it raises somehow the way you focus. So I use it for so many things with my people, and it doesn't really matter what your issue is. If it works for you, it works in all of it. So that's an amazing product.
So certainly I know when we combine that, and obviously in Europe with all those products available, that combination's a very, very powerful scientific, they synergistically work together. So us guys here in Australia, we have so much to look forward to. You've had this for 4 or 5 years now, okay, and you've seen some amazing outcomes and results with the product. So us here in Australia, just with the balance test and the balance oils, we are seeing great results, okay? And I believe we're building that nutritional foundation, that omega levels, that building block of getting it right. And then when we introduce, for an example, the Extend Plus, the Viva Plus, and the Protect, and obviously the Xenobiotics, when we introduce those in the next 4 to 6 months, we are certainly going to have an outstanding result with our people that are currently consuming the balanced oil, and then we put them on those products as well.
I have to say that I have some people that only want to use a few of the products, but when I get them in balance in their cell membrane, all the other products have a much higher influence on their overall health faster.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. If you have a healthy cell membrane, your body is just working at a different level. So everything works better, and it's a synergetic combination that Paul Clayton has created for us.
Yeah, and Dr. Paul Clayton has done a lot of work for us, okay, and as part of our medical advisory board. Just touch on him, actually, because I know you work reasonably close with him and you have a great connection with him. Can you just give your snapshot of what you found? I know you're on a time limit, but if you can give me 1 minute snapshot of just how it's been great for you to work with Dr. Paul Clayton as well.
Well, I think for me, when I discovered he was involved, that was for me, let's say, the validation. Because when I was studying for holistic nutrition, one of his books was actually one of the ones we had to read. So when I saw he was involved, I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So for me, him and the test were like the two things that got me interested. Then, of course, working and knowing and getting to be involved in Zinzino in general, there's a lot of other things that are important here. But the two of those two things were the first and most important for me to get started here. I think Dr. Paul Clayton is somebody who knows so much, and he's traveling all over the world. People are asking him to come and help out with scientific studies, and he's involved in so many things. So for me, he's the forerunner, meaning he knows what is happening around the world. He knows where he has to go to get the best products. Like he knows where to get Viva, so the Afron extract. He knew where to go and get different other things that we have in our product. So he is definitely somebody we want to keep close and have working for us, because he is in there. He's a nitty-gritty thing. Like he's a nerd in many ways, and a beautiful one, because he's so knowledgeable.
We've got him involved with our wellness practitioner group here in Australia, and we've got a nice group starting up now with wellness practitioners that are now referring or recommending the products as well. And Dr. Paul Clayton's done a number of calls with those guys. drpaulclayton.eu, guys, is his blog. Please just go up there. There's so much. Like Anne, like you said, there's so many people that are following him, and then they realise, wow, he's actually behind the Zinzino products as well. When they go, wow, that's a light bulb moment, and go, this is a very special company to have a gentleman like Dr. Paul Clayton behind our company, and obviously behind our science of our products. So let's touch on, as we close out, any closing key comments from yourself that you can give, the final inspiration for these people, as we are mostly around the world under lock and key at the moment. What should they be doing apart from calling everybody they know to tell them about the test and the balance or? Give me some of your last minute tips.
Yeah. Well, stay on the products, because I can tell you that they definitely help for a lot of different things. I would say that what I'm doing right now is that of course, I can't meet with people, but I contact people. I get people interested. And a lot of people in today during a lockdown are not doing anything. So you will see a lot of people actually being interested. People that maybe before said we don't have time, or it's not the right moment. Go to them. Go and get them. Talk to them again. Some of them might even call you back, but you have to get out there. You cannot just sit and wait that they will. But for sure, it's the right moment to talk to people about what you have, both for our immune system, for our health, but also for the business behind it. I'm certain. And we see this here in Europe, we see a huge interest.
Yeah, look, and I have to say, with the amount of interest, and guys, the amount of growth that Zinzino had in March last month, okay, has been unbelievable. And that's because of the awareness in the European region, okay, with these products now. We've had them for just on 8 years as a company, as Zinzino, as a publicly traded company. I want guys on the line to understand, and even yourself, Anne, with people that you have here in Australia, we need to now, we've got this special time of the lockdown, use it to your power, use it to a point of time where you can reach out around the world and use the global calls, use the Zoom, use FaceTime as the connection that you would never or not probably normally use. This is the perfect time to start telling people about these incredible products that we have here at Zinzino. All the Australians that are on the line right now are watching the replay. Guys, it's time to reach out. You just heard Anne about the explosion that's happening over there and talking to people about why they need the immune boosting products that we have here at Zinzino, why the balance test is so critical, and why the independence of that test, okay? And I think that's one of the things, and you said that very powerful on that slide, having that independent laboratory that does the testing for us takes us above the rest of any other companies that may be out there trying to achieve what we're doing, okay? And that's the difference here at Zinzino. We are doing this on a daily basis. We're not thinking about it, we are doing it. We're live, in action 100% with our Zinzino test, with our Zinzino balanced oils and our complementary products that go with it. So, Anne, I thank you very much for coming on tonight. Again, every time you come for us and speak to us here in Australia, everybody just says, wow, where did this lady come from? Where is she hiding in the world? But we thank you for being part of Zinzino and doing all the work that you do for everybody that's in this incredible community called Zinzino Global. So, Anne, thank you so much. We'll speak to you again real soon. Take care, guys. And everybody, take care. Have a fantastic time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.